What is up, Los Angeles, and welcome back to your Rams LAFB show. I am your host, Ryan Anderson, your co-host. She's back, Erin Coscarelli, in full makeup, hair and makeup today.
Yes.
So your voice is back.
Voice is back. The mic is not. In fact, I think it might have just gotten delivered. So I apologize to the audio, perfectionists. I'm going to probably come in a little bit less clear than my co-host, Ryan Anderson. But yes, makeup, hair, all the things. I'm finally feeling settled. How are you feeling? Are you feeling sort of settled from the week?
Yeah. The off season always makes me feel a little bit unmoored, especially right now. We're about a little less than 2 weeks away from the combine, so there's a lot of draft talk. We're a month away from free agency, which is what our topic of conversation today. And my mind, I have to think in layers. Like I can't think about it all at the same time. And so a really good place to start is the in-house free agency. So we're going to rank our top free agent choices that the Rams need to consider, and we're not. It's not going to be like a true ranking because we're going to talk about people that we probably think they probably shouldn't resign, but we're going to hash it all out here. So I mean, there is a pretty good class of free agents. I'm going to call this a very interesting class of free agents. Rob Havenstein took care of himself. He retired. We talked all about him retiring, so he's not in consideration for this. But we've got Tutu Atwell, Jimmy Garoppolo, Cam Curl, Tyler Higbee, another name, Akella Witherspoon. Lots of cornerbacks that are going to be free agents. A couple of special teamers are free agents. Always a hot topic of conversation around the Rams LAFB show. Just kind of initial thoughts of Rams free agency. I mean, I think it's very. Ranking them is going to be interesting, but I'm also very interested to. This is kind of our first learning experience after they're kind of rebuilding their coaching staff. You know, we're starting to learn a little bit about what this 2026 team is. And then the decision that they make in free agency is going to tell us a lot about how they're feeling about the draft. But not only that, but also what 2026 is going to feel like.
So I think that this is a really awesome episode, which Ryan is the one to architect it. I love it. Because I think this is also an opportunity to just kind of clue people in on the sights and sounds of architecting an NFL franchise, which the Rams have done a very good job, at least in terms of the draft, picking up. I love your cheers, by the way. Cheers to the offseason. So here's how I look at it. We have to take a look at the 2026 NFL salary cap, okay? Mm-hmm. Those are things that are so important when it comes to trying to fit and, piece together what things are going to look like. I feel like we're going to end up having another show after this just to talk about like the overarching themes of the team and the team's needs. Obviously, I think we should take a look at, which I don't think we're going to necessarily do on this show, but we're going to offer a real good tease for you folks at home, because what Stafford's contract would look like. I mean, there's so many, like you said, layers to this. If you just Google 2026 NFL salary cap, right? They're saying the projected range is going to go, just to give context, the 2025 figure was $279.2 million. And then the projected range is going to be around, 301, 305 million per club. And if you also Google, which is what I do, the free agents that are available, I think those are things that you have to take into consideration. You sent me the over the cap link of the various free agents that are available, or free agents that are up for contract discussion. And I think you really have to take a look. Am I delayed? Because you're delayed.
I'm delayed again? Jeez Louise.
Yeah, but am I delayed? This is always...
No, I think it's me again.
Always you, just my old ball and chain here.
I call you my better half, and I get the old ball and chain. Anyway, it works. It works out. Check.
So look, like here's one of the big conversation pieces is what Tutu Atwell was paid, right? 10 million. What was his contribution on the field? Jimmy Garoppolo is another one, which is always good when your backup is not needed. They're usually a very expensive insurance plan. However, I will say Jimmy G contributed big time during training camp, which all players attributed a lot of getting everybody up to speed had to do with the arm of Jimmy Garoppolo. So, I think that this is like a great dialogue for folks at home, for people like us that are media when it comes to architecting. It's almost like it's almost like your fantasy draft. How do these pieces work together? And, we're sort of taking a snapshot of what it's like to be in the, conversations with general manager Les Snead and Sean McVay. How do you meal piece together a team that is contending while at the same time trying to build and move forward towards the future?
Yeah, and we tackled a part of that already with Sean McVay answering a question from Jordan Rodrigue, who we both admire, of course. She was asking, like heading into the next year, what's it like? He's like, you start over. This is a new team.
Right.
There's going to be new. There is no such thing as running it back. That doesn't work in the league. New guys come, guys go out. So let's just jump into this, and let's just start at the top of the annual average salary at the top, which is Tutu Atwell.
Yeah. Okay.
So we've talked. Everybody knows if you've watched this show for any amount of time, you've seen me jump on and off of the Tutu train several times. So he was paid $10 million last year to play for this club. I think he caught, a handful of passes, less than 10, I want to say, 200 and some odd yards.
Wait, 200 some odd yards total for the season?
Yeah, and 88 of those came on one catch. So, I mean, what's that?
What game was that? Was that like the
Indianapolis? He caught the game sealing go ahead touchdown to win that game. And that was before the big transition to 13 personnel, which we'll talk a little bit about. But I mean, I didn't think last year they were going to come back and pick him up then. But Sean McVay cannot quit this guy. But the depth chart for the Rams receivers, is pretty sparse. You think about Davante, he's 33 years old, missed a good chunk of the season. Puka always seems to pick up an injury here or there. It was, pretty healthy this year, but missed a few games. Xavier Smith is also a free agent, probably in a bit of a doghouse. Also, that's a special teams question as well.
Are you saying in the doghouse because the muff punts in the NFC Championship game?
I mean, one would have to imagine. I mean, he got put in the doghouse right away. I mean, Kyron Williams was out there fielding punts. So, I mean,
yeah,
there's a part of me that is leaning that he's going to get re-signed. Now, I'll say that Spotrac says that his market value is about $2.6 million. So that's much more appetizing than that $10 million contract. But is this the year where they move on from Mr. Atwell, Mr. Chartavius Atwell, and draft a few more guys or pick up more guys on the open market? What do you think?
Well, that's the part that's always so interesting is, well, you got to take a look at the draft class. So what guys are available, what guys are not just available, but what guys fit your system. Look, I think they liked Tutu because of his downfield speed. He offered a vertical threat, whereas, you see Puka maybe widen the field a little bit more and be kind of like Stafford's safety valve. But like you said, see, now I'm noticing I'm a little delayed. See, that's very weird. Okay, well, anyways, as the season progressed, you saw progression of the offense, right? And so for some reason, Tutu was also injured during part of the season, but he was an active or he was a healthy scratch during a handful of games, and you just kind of have to wonder, what is that about? Like, is it off the field, is it on the field, is it meshing, is it attitude? Like, the other thing that McVay always subscribes to is like having guys in the locker room and on the field that are high character. And by the way, I'm not suggesting anything. Whenever I've interviewed Tutu, he's been an absolute wonderful human being. But why did they pay him so much money, $10 million, to be a healthy scratch?
Well, and it's always been the question with Tutu is like, where does he fit into this? And when Deshaun Jackson was on the team, you saw a couple of instances. That was Tutu's first year. You saw a couple of instances where it's like, oh, that's what that could look like. And we've seen it with Tutu. It's just never been a big part. And last season, I was saying, okay, if this guy can find a role on this team that he can contribute week in and week out, I love it. Even if it's 2-3 catches a game, I'm cool with that. But it just wasn't. It did not work out. Super smart guy, former quarterback. McVay likes to keep smart people around on the team, and I think Tutu's one of those guys. I just don't think, one of 53, one of 48. No, I think it's time to move on. We tried this experiment. They want to get heavier. If they're going to continue 13 personnel, put a big if on that, no way.
Yeah.
But they are going to, and they're going to be more 12. They're going to be more 12 personnel, 2 tight ends for sure. No doubt.
I think we can also offer up asking people at home what they think. But if you look at the depth chart, look, one thing we know for sure, okay, so they have Puka, Davante, Kanata Mumfield, and Jordan Whittington is what I was going to say. I think they really like Jordan Whittington. He wasn't it last year? He was like preseason darling. They like him. He's sticking around, obviously. So
Konate too. I think they like Konate too.
And that's right. So I personally think it's when it comes to making smart roster moves and decisions with the salary, I just don't see that relationship breaking bread in the 2026 season.
Yeah. And I'm just going to throw this out there. At 13, Mekhi Lemon sitting there, fight on USC. That might be that. Are you going to draft a number 2 guy in the first round? We'll see. But I'm just going to throw that out there. We'll get more into draft talk as we go. Let's hop over to Tyler Higbee. He's on a void year, which in the parlance of Tony Pastore's means you're a free agent. So Tyler Higbee.
Explain what that means. That means they had the option to resign him. They opted not to.
Well, it's a player option at that point, and no player is going to choose that. They're gonna want a new contract. They tack void years on to the end of it so that they can stretch the cap hit out more for players. It's very common, especially with the Rams. So this is a curious one, and this is one where 13 personnel comes back up. Now, heading into the season, it was not the plan to run 13 personnel. It was the plan to run more 12 personnel. We know this because it was a scrambled decision when Puka was out and installed that. So are they going to continue that? If they continue that, they're going to need at least 4 guys on the roster that they trust. Mm-hmm. That means probably Tyler Higbee. There's probably no other guy on this roster that they trust more in that room. Maybe Colby Parkinson. Colby Parkinson has really gotten to be a big part of this team. But yeah, so but he's 33 years old, 10 years of experience. Market value according to Spotrac about $5.3 million per year. So I don't know. This is a tough one. This is a tough one for me. I think there's a lot of people out there that say it's time to cut bait. He's aged, coming off of a massive injury, but he had a good year. He contributed all the way through. And who, if you're going to run 13 personnel, and like I said, this is one of those instances that I'm going to point to. If they just let him walk, that's going to tell us a lot about the offense. They might go ahead and draft somebody. Drafting a tight end, it's a little bit shaky. They take some time.
I don't see that.
So you don't see
Look,
that.
they have Colby, Tyler, Terrence, and Davis, right? So, I mean, maybe in the later rounds. But let's just take a look at Tyler's situation here. What is he? 33?
Yep.
He's was 8.5, right? 8.5 million he got paid.
Yep.
Or, so you have to really decide what a tight end, commands, who's had injury, who hasn't, always been available. What a 33-year-old tight end who's an incredible leader and absolutely clutch. When you have a guy you drafted in not the first round, but the first pick of your draft last year and really investing in the tight end position, you're going to have to save money somewhere. And I think that draft with, you picking up what I'm putting down?
Yep. So I think you're right. And I don't think they want to be in 13 personnel. Honestly, it's like, just because that wasn't the plan, I think 12 fits them a lot more, fits them better. When McVay came in, he drafted Gerald Everett to tag team with Tyler Higbee to run 12 personnel, and then they realized they got Cooper Kupp on the out of that draft too, and they changed their whole plan based on that. So that, I'm right there with you. Let's hop to one Cameron Curl, safety extraordinaire. I'm going to keep mine short. He's played himself into a really big contract with another team. Spotrac estimating over $10 million, $10.5 million annual average salary. So I don't think they're going to re-sign him. We haven't talked a lot about the cap yet. Maybe that was probably the first layer we should have tackled, but that's a big undertaking for us, just from a research standpoint. So that'll be next week.
Just a moment. We'll get there. We just got back in town.
Yeah, exactly. Just sobering up. So I'm going to say they're not going to be able to afford to re-sign him, even as much as big as a part of the defense that he was. I just don't think they're going to be able to afford it. And I'm just going to say this about the salary cap as well, to tack that on there. They've got 10 draft picks, 2 in the first round. Their draft class is going to be very expensive, probably $14 million of the cap just for the draft class. So
that's a good point.
Yeah.
As those first rounders, right?
Assuming that they don't trade back, which is always a possibility with this team, of course. But Cam Curl, I'm glad you had a revitalization. He's probably going to be a Seattle Seahawk. I don't know.
Or a Cardinal or something.
Well, yeah, even better. Yeah. So, any thoughts on Cam Curl?
I mean, my overall process, which kind of agrees with you, I think, that's the good and the bad of the NFL. When you position a guy to success, or certainly showing a proof of concept on the field, that makes him very valuable. Another team, perhaps in the division, may want to snag that player. So I kind of echo your sentiments. One player I have found to be quite fond of, and I had gotten to know and is well liked in the locker room, is Cam Kitchens. And so, I think the focus will be potentially on the secondary in the draft, and it'll just be interesting to see where that focus goes. So
yeah, and they obviously paid Quentin Lake, and he's going to be their nickel or star role, probably not moving back to safety. And then they've got Kinchins and McCullough, who played a lot of football for them. And they're probably going to draft another guy. And they don't typically, offer another contract to safeties over the past, and have had a pretty good track record of bringing safeties in. So I trust them in that. All right, here's one. This is an interesting one.
Ooh.
Jimmy Garoppolo, 34 years old, 12 years of experience. $3 million per year, estimated value of $2.3 million a year. So,
yeah,
you drop. I know my Jimmy Garoppolo feelings. You drop yours.
I think the ladies of Los Angeles will be very sad. There are some ladies that I am very close with that just ask about Jimmy Garoppolo. You're plain and simple. I'm like, are you even paying? But to be quite frank, it's a numbers game. I think if you show up a lot, this has always been my thing about whether it's LaFleur leaving or a Jimmy Garoppolo or a Davante. If you like where you work and you're happy, I mean, I know it's a numbers game. You got to go where the money's at. But you also have to keep in mind too, Stetson Bennett is there. They seem to like Stetson. But, you got to have you have to have a reliable insurance plan. You don't want to have to rely on the backup, but things happen. And this isn't just about Garoppolo at 35 getting paid $3 million or whatever he's getting paid, 3.005. You also have to realize too, who would be the backup that makes sense in the event you have someone that is Stafford's age at 38 with a back situation. Like, does the value of the backup become more important because the QB has played in highly intense, like Mac Jones and Brock Purdy are a great example of that, right? So you don't want to have to rely on your backup, but your backup is ever important, I think, when your QB is 38 years old. No?
Oh, 100%. I mean, that is the number one point. You got to have, we learned it when Stafford went out over the last few years. Like, it's sort of important to have a guy behind him. And I'm just kind of looking through the names that could be cheaper pickups. And Jimmy Garoppolo has a heck of a track record. As much as I'm not, bought in on him fully, looking through these names, Case Keenum,
Daniel Jones.
He's played some football. Daniel Jones, I don't know if he's going to be able to stand without crutches for another 12 months. That's a question.
0%. There's 0% chance. Like, not that he's not. I'm saying he's not coming to LA.
Yeah. Teddy Bridgewater. I love me some Easton Stick. I really do. Trey Lance, that would be an interesting one.
But again, it kind of is like,
no, you're right.
This might be the year they're drafting they got to draft. They have to think about the future.
Yeah, Vinny Bonsignor, now of the California Post, just put out an article about the options that the Rams have to replace Matthew Stafford. It's going to happen. I apologize to everybody. I don't know how to say it any other way. He is going to retire at some point, and the best examples of organizations that replace their quarterback bring in a guy. There's no other way to put it. Otherwise, you're in purgatory. You risk anyway.
Why would you buy a house and not get insurance on the house? Like, you gotta have a plan B. Yeah. And I think the backup in this case is very important regardless, because that backup is also going to be showing the future how to lead. I think, I don't know. We can move on because I know we've talked too long about Jimmy Garoppolo, but what is your sentiment? You think he's going to stay? I feel like he could.
I think he likes it here. I think he's really enjoying his time backing up Matthew Stafford and collecting the paycheck and living in LA and whatnot. And Stetson Bennett's going to be on the last year of his contract as well. And so I think they'll have a pretty good idea of what they're going to get out of Stetson Bennett at that point. And you know, and I'll just say this, like, to the Stetson hive out there, I know you're out there watching me. You've made your voices heard. If they don't re-sign him, this could be the Stetson year. So let's just keep that on the table. I like Jimmy Garoppolo as that guy that's been in the league for a lot of times, played a lot of football, won games in this system as well. So as much as I have problems with him, I think that's good. I think now we should jump to positional kind of ideas rather than individuals. And the hottest topic, of course, is the cornerbacks. 4 cornerbacks are free agents: Darian Kendrick, Kobe Durant, Akella Witherspoon, Roger McCreary. Are we picking up any of those guys?
Yeah, I think
any of them cutting back.
Let's see here.
And I'll say this, on the open market, kind of the top free agents of the cornerback class are going to garner about $10 million a year average. So, you know, in terms of the cap management, I keep bringing up these numbers because that kind of relates to how much they're going to hit against the cap. So your Tariq Woolens, your Cam Taylor-Britts, who else is a free agent? Oh, I got it right here. Jamel Dean, Alontae Taylor, Greg Newsome, who was hurt, Eric Stokes, fall from grace there. But you know, those, I mean, I'm not in love with this free agent class. I don't think there's like a home run. I think Seattle's going to go hard to keep Tariq Woolen. Jamel Dean or Cam Taylor-Britt might be your best options.
4 cornerbacks are up for free agent changes. And it's really interesting because that's the position of, I think, most need for the Rams. If you take a look at Akella at 31, 1.255. Roger McCreary, 2.29.
And that's it, last year of his rookie deal. So he's gonna want a big bump.
Yeah. And you know, Kobe Durant, fond of him. He became like my go-to and Akella, truly. You know, I just think it really depends on, that was the position they really struggled with the most. Tackling was a massive issue. And, you know, obviously, Q Lake was, I think, a serious part of impacting the Emmanuel Forbes and the rest of the performance of that secondary. So I think it's just so hard to just say pick and choose. I'm not going to do it. I'm certainly not going to do it. I mean, and you know, the other thing is too, like, you're like, don't talk about the specific names, but like Harrison Mavis is
we'll get to that. We'll get to them too.
Getting paid $840,000
in LA.
In LA. Yeah, exactly. You know, 24 years old though, getting paid $840,000. Maybe he's doing okay.
He's doing all right. He's not living large over there on the west side, I can tell you that much.
He's not in the, like, you know, the gated estates of Hidden Hills, that's for sure. You think he lives in like a condo?
Absolutely do. Absolutely.
Yeah, it's expensive.
Just right next to the Woodland Hills, just one of those, you know,
the golf
Encino,
course.
maybe he lives in Encino.
Yeah, that's a nice area though. But yes, folks at home, it's expensive to live here. Okay, I've lived here my whole life, and I have seen You're still trying to go snowshoe in Idaho, so you take some time off.
Nice.
Um,
That's a callback.
but it's like, if you look at this, guys, go to overthecap.com. You sent it to me. Kudos to you. It's like, you cannot pick and choose. It's like, how do they do it in the front office? Anyways, I don't know. Yeah. And Ronnie Rivers, I mean, there's so many interesting names after getting to know the players and really getting a sense of who you think, contributed. And if you can read between the tea leaves of like how McVay talks about players, I think there's going to be some of those guys on in the cornerback position that he's going to definitely fight for and want to keep. And there's going to be a couple, but let me ask you this, and I'm not going to go ahead and say it, but you can say it. Who do you think is going to go? Who do you think did not contribute consistently, is maybe perhaps the right way to ask that question?
Well, it's not even so much that. I think Akella Witherspoon has become a health risk. He's over 30. He's playing on a cheap deal. So I think they'll leave the door open for that. But they didn't resign him until late into the offseason last year. I don't remember exactly when he came back, but I think Darian Kendrick is a guy that's come and gone. And I love Darian Kendrick. I think he plays with a kind of attitude that is he the most consistent guy? No, but he didn't play a lot. So, but I think he'll come back on a cheap deal. Roger McCreary is kind of a mystery. I don't know why they even traded for him, because, well, it wasn't really even a trade. I mean, it was basically a pick swap, and they added a player in there. But he barely touched the field. And then Kobe Durant is the one that, I think he, the interceptions, great. Right? We love that.
Okay.
Inconsistent though. And I think, and I'll contrast him with what I was saying about Cam Curl. I don't think he played well enough to play himself out of a contract, basically.
Right.
I think he's still affordable, and I think they like him a lot. And listen, the defense lived and died on turnovers. And this is a guy that, like, they call him the land shark. He's a bit of a ball hawk, and he knew he was on a contract in a contract year. So that said, I think probably Darian Kendrick, Kobe Durant are the guys that are coming back. Not, like, love what Akella Witherspoon did when he was healthy, but he's kind of a emergency option that they'll probably keep. They'll bring him back if he's cheap, and if he's available, and if it doesn't seem to be working out with how they built it. Roger McCreary is just a complete mystery. I don't even know really, so jumping to other positions, let's talk a little bit about special teams, because that's how we got to talk about special teams on the Rams LAFB show. Harrison Mevis, he's an exclusive rights free agent. So they'll have, if they want him, he's coming back. I think there should be kicking competition. They brought in Jake McQuaid. He is an unrestricted free agent, 15 years of experience. It seems like you got to get him. And then this is one, and I think I'm reversing major course on this one. Troy Reeder, he's coming back. And I'm referring to him as a special teamer because he played most of his snaps on special teams and was the leader just in terms of snap count purely there. And they need that guy. And in terms of linebackers, they got Landman, they've got Spates. Dolak played a ton of special teams as well. But I mean, I was anti Troy Reeder being on this team after they re-signed him last season, but they got to have that guy. I was talking about Mr. Nice Legs himself, 41. I've already forgotten his name for the Patriots. But a consistent guy that wants to play hard on special teams, that's Troy Reeder. I don't mind that. What do you think? I mean, just pull the trigger. I don't know. I don't even know where you're going to go on this.
I think here's what I think will be very interesting, because like the wheels are always spinning on sort of taking people through the process of what we're thinking. And I think more and more people want to know why you think the things that you think and why I think and feel the way. We're going to do, you and I, we're going to have a shared document. And we're going to put together the contents of our mind for the next episode. And I want us to share that document with by the way, why files and the word document feels so strange to say right now amidst what we're all kind of going through in America. Anyways, but we will share this. I think we should put together a file,
a dossier,
something to discuss in my mind what I think, the next episode going through. I think people like to have a visual when they kind of like go over things. And yeah, I think people are interested in what fits, what doesn't fit, putting the pieces in the puzzle together. Because in my opinion, I think it should, I'm so curious to see how the Rams front office, where do they start? How do they structure it? Do they look at the draft first, or do they look at the free, and by the way, also what's interesting is if you look at the NFL schedule, free agency comes first. And then you have the draft. I mean,
did we say that at the top of the show? March 9th is when free agency opens?
We did. Yeah, we did.
Okay.
Yeah.
Smart.
So then how complex does that make decision making when, and it's almost like if you think about it too, like head coaching positions, when do you pull the trigger, if you will, on head coaching decisions, because some of those places and positions are going to get filled, and what is the right opportunity, at the end of the day. So I think it's always kind of an examination of who's in the draft class, what does your system look like, who fits in it, who's high character, because they talk about that all the time, and money. Who's willing to take a pay cut? I mean, listen, that to me is always like the most interesting. So I don't know. I think they're going to I think you got to take a chance on Harrison Mavis, Xavier Smith. I think
that's another special teams guy. Yeah,
I know. I think he's going to be on timeout, but I don't think they're going to get rid of him.
I mean, they could completely. They've got a new special teams coordinator. They could completely revamp this thing in Bubba Vitroni's image.
How do you say? Is he Italian?
Yeah, I think it's Vitroni. That's how I heard McVay say it. So that's what I'm going to go with. All right, and I like that more.
Yeah. Oh, you like Vitroni? Yeah. Well, I'm Italian. I like anything Italian. So I'm going to go get pasta tonight. I'm going to
Gabagool. Yeah.
Gabagool. Mozzarella. How do you say it? Mozzarella. You don't say like mozzarella. You say mozzarella. I mean, that's how the New Yorkers do it. What'd you say?
Spaghetti. It's spaghetti.
Yeah. Sure.
Sorry.
All right.
We're coming out. If we go past a half an hour, we start to get a little loopy.
Frazzled. Anyways, okay. I think we need to keep doing this. Well, we'll have to do it on another show because
you got to go.
Have a reservation to get to. But to be continued. I don't think we even know. In fact, I'm actually curious what the people at home have to say. So we'll have to ask them, what do they think? Who's on there? Like, who's getting a rose? Who's getting a cut? Who do they think is moving forward, and who are they getting rid of?
Yeah, and it's so interesting that it lines up with the major needs of this team: special teams, cornerback. What's happening with the quarterback situation and wide receiver room as well? It's also very. It's so interesting because it's so precarious at this time of the year all the time, and that's kind of what you're pointing at is like, we love this guy, we love Akello, but like, does he fit? Anyway, thank you guys, as always, for tuning in. Erin's got to get to dinner. She's all made up and ready to go. And I'm going to finish my Nero Diavolo, which is a Sicilian red wine. And until next time, folks, we will be back very, very soon to talk all things offseason, contracts, draft. Who should they sign out there? Is it Cam Taylor Britt? Until then, folks, appreciate you.
Hey, Ramley, thank you so much for hanging out with us and watching the Rams LAFB show. Quickly before you go, got to tell you about our friends over at Sleeper. It's the #1 sports app right now, and you've got to download it because it's got so many great features that I want to tell you about. Aside from season-long fantasy, which is the best in the business, they've also got live score trackers, in-game updates, plus the live chat where you can actually communicate with other users right on the app. But perhaps the best feature, at least that I like, is the daily fantasy feature or the live pick'em. Just pick 2 to 8 players across any sport, baseball, basketball, hockey, obviously football and our Rams. You're going to choose a player, just choose more or less. Matthew Stafford, more or less passing yards. Kyron Williams, more or less rushing yards, more or less touchdowns. 2 to 8, you can win real money. So when you go to make your first deposit, make sure you use our promo code RAMSLAFB, and Sleeper's going to give you a match bonus up to $100. So you deposit $100, they're going to give you $100 free. You're now sitting at $200. You put in $10, they're going to match you $10. You're now sitting at $20. But on top of that, right now, Sleeper is offering all new user signups a $20 free entry, no deposit required. Go sign up. You're automatically invested $20 straight from Sleeper. But you can stack that offer with that match bonus offer to add more money. Just make sure to use that promo code RAMSLAFB. Go check out Sleeper. Download it today. Tell them the guys at the Rams LAFB sent you. And as always, Ramley, thank you so much for making us a part of your day.